Today is April the 10th. This is the Committee on Ways and Means. And if I call this meeting to order, and if I could ask Councilmember Gregory to provide us with an invocation, please. Councilmember Gregory.
Let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, as we come together to do the work of the people, please, God, let us err on the side of righteousness. Bless this council, bless our mayor, and bless the people of the city of Charleston. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Item 2 on the agenda is approval of the minutes from March 13th.
Move for approval. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Item 3, bids and purchases. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I think
Councilman-
4 and 5 is applying for a grant with no city match. Could we take both together?
Second.
Oh, I'm sorry. We number 3 now?
Yeah, we're on bids and purchases right now.
Okay.
Councilman Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just curious, one of those contracts was $65,000 to the showering, S-H-A-R-O-W, of the marking of the bike lanes. Is this to tell us where we need to put them, or I wasn't sure exactly what that contract was calling for.
I thought it was for redoing them, but Gary, can you answer
This
that?
is for the contractor to actually lay them, sir.
So who decides where they get laid?
That would be, oh, I'm sorry. That would be traffic and transportation.
So I was trying to find out what the process was. We're agreeing to have a contract to put these things down, but I know TNT hasn't done any discussion on this. Is this just a staff decision? I'm just curious.
Traffic and transportation came to us to ask us to issue a contract to lay those bike lanes. So we issued a solicitation to find a contractor for those services.
For the actual.
Yes, sir. I can't speak to how the decision will be made as to where they're going to go.
Unfortunately, I don't see anyone from TNT right now.
Oh, Mr. Benjamin was behind me.
Anyone from TNT that they can answer that question? If you want, and it's in order, we can move on through the agenda, and then we can come back to bids and
The other
purchases.
two are.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Good.
The bike ped plan yet to the committee? We should do that as well.
We had a briefing on it some time ago, but we haven't brought it back in its final form for us to review and, I guess, bring forward.
So this is kind of the beginnings of putting the bike ped plan into effect and identifying those places in the city, which is has been done by staff, but hadn't been approved by the committee yet, as where we will start making markings as to bike access in the city.
I just figured that we ought to have some input into
Yes,
what
sir.
we're going to do. I mean, I don't have any problem with the contract, but
Right.
I think the process, I had not seen the plan, and I wasn't
Yeah.
sure what this was, that we needed to look at it.
Excellent point. If we could approve this, we'll bring it to the next Traffic and Transportation Committee.
All right.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the ayes have it. Item 4 is the fire department approval
Mr.
to
Chairman.
apply for state. Yes.
That's what I said, 4 and 5.
Oh, okay, all right. I think there's a motion to take 4 and 5. Is that what the motion would be? So we got a motion second? All right. Both of those are related to the fire department, Homeland Security grants. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the ayes have it. Item 6 is the Office of Cultural Affairs.
For approval.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the ayes have it. Item 7 is traffic and transportation approval annual traffic signal maintenance agreement with the state of South Carolina DOT.
For approval.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Police Department approved the MUSC Information Security Agreement relating to security cameras to be provided by CPD. Any discussion? Councilman Lewis, did you have a discussion, or you were just seconding it?
Just second the motion, that's all.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Item 9 is capital projects approval, CFD Ashley Hall Fire Station Professional Services Agreement.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Item 10, Parks and Capital Projects approval for Joe Riley Stadium Ball Field improvements, professional services contract with Millennium Sports. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the ayes have it. I want to make sure y'all feel like you're getting your money's worth, and we don't have to keep whipping right through them. We can take a couple minutes. I mean,
Chairman, I just remarked to Mr. Moody that since you became chairman, we could be a little bit faster.
yeah, right. Item 11, capital projects approval for the Bender Street Park
Move for
fee
approval.
amendment number 1.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the ayes have it. Public service approval of Springs Fishburne US 17 drainage
For
and
approval.
transportation improvement.
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Seekings.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm just interested to know, as we go through this project, now we've been in it longer than that, 3 years, how much money has the city put into this, and how much has come out of the TIF? Do we know how much we're into this to date on this project?
Ms. Cavanagh, can you answer that, or Ms. Warden? Anyone?
50/50,
I'll
but
tell
we
you
got
what
a
I
TIF up
remember
there.
for right now. But for Spring Fishburne, we
Yes, sir.
started out with about $12 million in engineering fees that came out of city funds. Then we got a $10 million Tiger grant. Then we got the 50/50 match grant, and we contributed $12.5 million out of TIF funds. And the other $12.5 million came from the Federal Highway Administration. The next phase is $88 million from the SIB, and then the final phase will come from the TIF, which I think is about 25 million or so.
So to date, the TIF has spun out $12.5 million that's been dedicated back to this project?
Probably a little more than that.
TIF's work? Yep, that's a pretty good lesson in TIF management.
Right.
Thank you.
Certainly. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the ayes have it. Item 13, Housing and Community Development.
Move for approval.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the ayes have it. Item 14, Budget, Finance, and Revenue Collection approval of purchase replacement speakers for Gaillard
So
Center.
moved.
Second.
Mr. Chairman,
Discussion.
I'd
Mr. Mayor.
like to recuse myself from this matter as I serve on the board of the Gaillard.
Okay,
I'm gonna ditto that, and so will Councilmember Moody.
all right. Do we have enough for a quorum to actually pass it? Councilman Griffin.
I just wanted to know what we're planning to do with the old speakers.
Come on, baby.
I believe.
Are we going to sell them, or can we put them to another building that we own that we could use
I
them?
think the plan is to resell them.
Sell them,
And
yes.
Gaillard was going to actually
We're
help
gonna
with
sell
that
them.
process. Correct?
Yes, that's right.
Did you have a buyer? Yeah. That's a serious sound system for a house, that's all I got to say. All right, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? And the ayes have it. Item 15 is Committee on Real Estate. Chairman Moody.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Real Estate Committee met today. The first 4 items on here were development agreements with the property owners out on the Ashley River Historic District. These are going to be the subject of public hearings later on. We received information on them, and we did not take a vote. Item E is the sales price on that Juniper Street. We had a contract there for the purchase of that. It was based on $168,000 or the fair market value, whatever the appraisal was. The appraisals came in, and actually it's two pieces of property, 140, and we agreed to purchase that piece of property or those two pieces of property. One was 120, one was just 20,000. We approved that unanimously. Item F was deferred. That again, I think, is coming up later in our city council meeting. So move for approval of that one item.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. And if there is no further business,
Benjamin is here.
Benjamin's here.
yeah, Mr. Benjamin is come in now. We maybe just go back to bids and purchases for 2 seconds to give him a minute to give us a little commentary on the bids and purchase item. And this was specific to the markings for bike ped marking contract.
Yeah, so last year, we found that there was $31,000 in my budget for professional services that went unspent specifically for markings. The same is for this coming year, about the same amount. And one of the things we recognized was that there's not a designation in our right-of-way of where different modes of transportation are supposed to go, especially on our smaller arterials that are slower and otherwise. And so we wanted to kind of take a small step forward in creating that opportunity through the share road markings. If you know, on John Street, right near the Visitor Center, some of those already exist. And so through our People Pedal plan that came by suggestion of our Bike and Pedestrian Committee, as well as some of the work that came out of our public charrette for our citywide transportation plan, wanted to take a small step forward by introducing some of those markings on the existing right-of-way. So it's not any major infrastructure at all. It's markings work that our folk would normally do but don't have the capacity to do, that we're having a contractor come in and complete.
And I think one of the questions was specific to location. Have they been identified at this point?
Yes, sir.
And so can we get a list of what those are, maybe to be presented to traffic and transportation? I think that would be appropriate. Is that kind of what the expectation was?
So,
My question was, if that's something staff is agreeing to or approving, I just wanted to know who was approving it and what the process was. Because we had not heard at TNT where they were going, or what streets may be impacted. I thought we ought to know that before we got too far down.
Sure.
well, I mean, it's so similar to how we give designation for parking spaces, similar to how we give designations for the middle yellow line. This is similar, except it's just little bike markings. So it's not infringing on any portion of where cars would be or otherwise. It's just giving so instead of somebody being on a primary arterial that would be unsafe for them to be on, giving them a better direction. So similar to the markings that are on Vendu Street right now, right? It just lets people know that that's slower area for them to operate in and give them that space that's there. And normally my staff would be the ones to do that, where we wouldn't even have to come to you all. But because this is out of the scope of what my staff has the capacity to do, we had a couple of dollars left over, and we figured we bring in a contractor to complete that for us.
So these markings would just say that these are the safe routes, and if they're not markings there, that doesn't really say anything. It just
Yes, sir.
is kind of what that means.
Exactly.
It's kind of a recommendation. Okay.
It's just a recommendation.
Councilman Seekins?
Just a point of clarification. So we're directing a contractor to do this. Do we have a GIS program or something that we've given them to tell them where we want these markings?
Yes, sir. It was a part of the procurement process and everything.
So if you could just send the TNT committee a copy of the GIS program, and if we have any questions at the next TNT meeting, we can ask about it. I think you're going to get the passage of this funding. Let's just see where you're doing it, so we know where the work's going.
Understood. Thank you, sir.
Great.
All right, Bill?
Okay,
Thank you.
good.
Okay, the motion.
No, yeah, we did. We deferred that item.
So you're on the camera all the time. I got the camera.
Councilman Moody, Chairman Moody, as part of your report for real estate, I can't recall, did you mention that we did in fact defer the last item on that?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just want to make sure.
The last item was deferred.
Right, okay, and so that's what we passed, including the deferral. All right, any more business? All right, any more business come to the committee? Hearing none, we stand adjourned.